Hello, self, Ohana, cosmos, universe, infinite beings. It's Soul Dr. Nick here. It is March 16th, 2025. It is now about 3:53 a.m. When I first got here, it was 3:33 a.m. and I wanted to make some announcements first before I got into this magic mirror work. So this is magic mirror work. It is about me talking to me, through me, as me, by me, for me. And if you decide to stay, you're welcome to. That's why I'm posting them all online. And just know that that's not the point of this. I'm here to talk to myself, to go through things, to hash things out, to just be with, to even do some work, to go through affirmations, to go through life purpose, all this stuff. Whatever wants to come up. And I'm doing it online because it's accountability, it's sharing myself, it's transparency, it's intimacy. And I believe this magic mirror work is going to serve not just myself, but hopefully my future generative AI, and lead by example. I imagine if more of us did this, we'd be more proficient speakers, we'd be more proficient at sharing ourselves, we'd be less afraid of what's out there. And it's almost like flooding the internet with so much stuff. It's like someday when someone wants to criticize me, I'm like, which part do you want to? There's literally hundreds of hours of stuff you could pick out little tidbits of and be like, look at this guy, he's terrible. And pick out tidbits, look at this guy, he's amazing, look at all the stuff he's come up with. That's the other piece too, right? I record so much stuff now because there's so many gems and nuggets that come out of it. And it's funny, there are times that I wish something recorded. I was doing a breathwork session the other day and I thought it was being recorded. I was like, that's gonna be the most epic recording ever. And somehow it got stopped. And it's like, thanks technology, you decided that this one, you've gotta just own it and earn it and love it and leave it. And it's frustrating sometimes and it's hilarious. That's why I'm looking at this, I'm looking at myself in this mirror, because I tried doing the other recording where I'm just looking at a little mirror and then it stopped somehow. I'm like, WTF, what's the point? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a better quote unquote video quality if it doesn't actually record. So I'm saying all these things because I'm giving a little bit of basis for me and for you if you're here. This morning, I'll be speaking of many things. I'm just looking at my finger. We woke up really early. I woke up really early. And my little man was just in some distress. Like, just crying and all that stuff, and didn't want me to support him, and took him to the bathroom and all that stuff, but just noticing this is life right now. Sometimes I'm like, why? And then I realize, oh, I've been guided recently by someone I look up to and I respect. She said, oh, it's acceptance. That's the thing that you're working with, Nick. And your son may be taking on some of your karma because, that's what we do in the family. We support each other. And then it helps remind me that it's my role to take on my own stuff. And how do I do that? And acceptance is one of the ones where I can't be like, I'm going to work harder at acceptance. It's in every moment noting, can I accept what's going on? Can I accept the present situation? Can I accept myself? Can I accept my responses? Can I accept their responses and not need them changed right away? Just because I feel like I'm willing to start accepting doesn't mean everything else is going to change too. And it's tricky then, because sometimes I'm impatient. I want to move the world. I want to get things going right away. And then I'm recognizing, it's like, where am I missing out in this impatience for what's going on? And I was reading my dear friend Taryn, who has the same birthday as me. I think it's exactly the same day. I can't remember now. She was writing that, what are the patterns that we've been patterned into? There's no such thing as an objective reality. Because the objective reality has the basis that there's one true reality and everyone else is just observing their slice of it. And there is some truth to that, but probably more accurate is we all just have different slices, and every time we look from a different lens, reality actually changes. And that's part of what we've noticed with the observer effect, looking at the slits of light and the light going through and how it lands depends on if there's an observer or not. For me right now, I'm noticing my reality keeps changing and my patterns keep changing, my noticing keeps changing. And part of it is the remembrance that we see such a narrow spectrum of light. Even the things that I really believed in before, I was like, oh my God, going from incandescent light bulbs to fluorescent or LED, so good. I was on the forefront of that. We spent lots of money on that. And now I'm almost on the step of going back, going, wait a second, burning fire, good. Like a good warm glow. Like normally I'd be wearing glasses with this light, but I wanted to have the glasses off to talk to myself earlier. I'm gonna put them back on in a sec. Actually, yeah, let's put them back on because the video's already started. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. Either way, this is for me. So why not make it for me then? Yeah, so I had the glasses off because I really wanted to look people in the eye as I was recording videos for them. Now this is for me, it doesn't matter. But it's because these LEDs have the flickering in the background. And the flickering all the time and the coldness of it is actually giving so much more blue light. These are blue light blockers. And so it's actually dysregulating in some ways the nervous system more. And often, and I get this too, I said the same thing, it's like, if I don't notice anything, what's going on? It's like, if you're young enough and your body's able to tolerate it, it doesn't mean that it's not affecting you. It just means that you're able to be with it. And let's be with both. I want to be able to operate in the world. I don't want to keep avoiding the world and wearing a tin hat. But how do I optimize environment when I can? And these are one of the little things. And learning more about that there's receptors all over the skin. Of course there are. Makes sense. But I've been ignoring it. And I had ignored it to such an extent that when I burned out from my work as a medical doctor in my final year of residency, so A, let's be clear now, I didn't actually finish and become fully licensed as an independent practicing physician. And B, I did finish medical school and I did finish part of the testings. But at the very end of it, I was just over 100 pounds. And now I'm 130, 35 at a healthy weight. I was up to 165 at one point. So I was more than a third off of my highest weight, right? 60 pounds off of that. That's crazy if you think about it. My blood pressure is over 150, over 130. I was chronically tired. I looked sickly. I looked pale. I had a terrible diet because I would eat just whatever I could, whenever I did, because quite often I'd just be fasting, not because I wanted to, but because I was so stressed out. I didn't know what else to do. I'm feeling some tension in my lower back as I'm talking about this again. And then when I finally burnt out, because I was on a research block, I was so catatonic, I don't even remember what happened. I was just on my couch. I don't even remember why my mom flew out. Like there's so many things that happened. I'm grateful because it's what kept me alive. And then I actually did go on not just antidepressant meds, but I can't remember which ones I was on, but one of them, venlafaxine or Prozac or the newer version, Pristiq. Man, I missed one day after a couple months and my whole body felt like the worst day ever. And that's when I realized I cannot stay on this. Like, this may be propping me up right now, but if this is the kind of dependence that it's going to create, that's going to be so challenging. So I'm grateful I didn't stay on things for too long. And I am grateful for the medications that were there at the time, because those are the only tools I knew how to use. I'm not saying that I recommend them, actually. If anything, I can't say I've recommended them to anyone, but I've also realized that everyone makes their own choices. How do I support you where you're at? And all this is coming back to acceptance. Part of this is accepting about the story of my life to get here. Part of this is accepting that I don't have everything figured out. Part of it is talking again about reality. So I'm rediscovering reality and the patterns, the way that I listen to things, the ways. Even sometimes I was listening to some friends yesterday, and there's a part of myself that listens from the lens of superiority. How have I got things more figured out than you do? Ha! If only I could teach you. And that's part of my pattern growing up, not good or bad. And so that's the thing to keep looking at. There's the morality that I've been taught to place on things. And I'm patterning out of that even. It's not good or bad that I have that lens that I'm looking from. It's just noticing that it's there. What has it be there? Oh, there's a part of me that wants to feel like I've got things figured out enough so I can actually feel good about what's going on. Not a bad thing, in a way, if you want to put good or bad on it. And part of it is me practicing, actually owning it. It's such a difference. Like if I looked at it again when I was about burning it, I was just feeling bad about everything, guilty, shameful. Like I've screwed everything up. And I still have parts of my life I'm looking, oh my God, I'm screwing it up still. Even looking at how I'm interacting with my son and how things are going, I'm like, oh, how am I screwing this up? And then reminding myself, and he's my great reminder, it's like if he chose me, his soul chose me for a reason, then even when I think I'm screwing up, he chose this. And can I realize that I chose my parents, I chose this life too. So even when I feel like I'm screwing up, I chose this. And even when I think they're screwing up, I chose this. And how do I realize my job isn't to try to fix everything? There's nothing that's broken. Everything's perfect. And when I'm in the deepest of ceremony, I realize that everything is perfect up till now. And it doesn't mean that I have to keep repeating things the same way. Because I'm listening as well to people talking about going to Egypt, being in the King's Chamber, activating their 12-strand DNA. all these things, and I'm realizing I had an opportunity to start shifting things already. Egypt had been coming up, Orion's been coming up, infinity, creation. And how much courage do I have to really shift things up as quickly as I want to? How does it impact not just me, but my family now too? And that's a reminder for me. Sometimes I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, wait a second, how do I do this in a holistic way? Not in spite of my family, but with my family. How do I actually get so clear? And there's such a great grounding for us that when that clarity is there and that certainty is there, it happens. When it happens, it's beautiful. Not this nervous energy where I'm like, I don't know if I really belong here. I'm stepping into way too much of the abyss and danger. It's like, okay, I can step courageously into this. And so reminding myself, it's already happened too. It's already happened. It's just in the time, space, horizon. I just haven't noticed it yet. And then what are the stepping stones that I really want to have in place getting there? One of the things is I want to be comfortable. And comfortable is probably not the word. I want to know that I've created a container of safety wherever I am in the world, as safe as it can be. Of optimization. Right now I'm drinking this beautiful green juice, and it's like, how do I have amazing nutritional support wherever I am? And some of it will be, there will be compromises, especially when I'm going to a new place, and unknowns. Eventually, here's the dream that I'm going to share. This is what I want for myself and my family. And I realized we each get to create our own dreams. Like, there's so much that I grew up thinking, oh my God, I'm going to judge this person, especially if they're rich and they're powerful, because I can't believe they're concentrating so much wealth and power. How unfair, how unjust. Versus, okay, this is the way the game's being played right now. How do I want to play the game? Where do I want to play it? I want to play a luxurious, supported, loving life. And the way that I see it is, I'd love to have a place where I have a team, where there's an advanced team that goes somewhere, that sets everything up. That's actually guiding. So we have the most natural stuff, the most healthy stuff, the most organic, not organic, the most holistic stuff. Organic just means the absence of something. I want to be life generating, holistic, and local too, right? Like, what's the local goodness that's there? What are the local natural materials that are there for cleaning, for bedding, for all the stuff? And finding a home that's actually curated, that's curated for that kind of sunshine, that kind of light, that kind of centrality, all that stuff. So an advanced team that actually sets things up. And why would they not want to be an advanced team? Imagine getting paid to go travel somewhere to set things up for someone else, right? I would love that at one stage of my life. And then we get to move there as a whole family and get set up and get settled in and enjoy ourselves and feel at home there, and plan to be there for at least a month, if not a few months. And then while we're there, do some work, right? Do some retreat, run some ceremonies, run some retreats, run some one-on-ones, run all these different things there, run some teachings, run some guidance. So both serving and receiving at the same time. And then taking some time off. What are we going to develop? How are we going to develop? And I'm just imagining being around Egypt, like going on a cruise up and down the Nile a little bit, like being around all these different, taking our time to explore these different pyramids, not having to rush from one to another. But also recognizing how much time we want to spend in that kind of climate. We may need to move out of that climate within a few weeks. And especially the first time, I may need to go on my own first. But eventually I'd like to go with a family and actually spend time there. So again, going back to that dream eventually, if it's not just going to a place and having that plunge into the unknown, but having a more grounded unknown where it's like we get supported and the energy is already cleared. And thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the support, because why do I want that? Because I recognize, what are my greatest gifts? Okay, to be with, to be present in these moments. I don't need to have all the different things figured out. I don't need to make things harder. And how do I support such a team that wants to do this? That wants to have this kind of fun? It's not even the idea of flying private or first class or pampered or 5-star or that. It's actually being with people that is family, that is Ohana, that are getting to be paid sustainable fair exchange for something that they really enjoy doing, and then having all the support for the family so it can actually grow in a beautiful, healthy way, and the kids and my beloved are supported as well while I'm doing amazing work. Like, that's essentially what I want to do. I think that's what all of us want to do in a way, but what it looks like can be different for each one of us. I'm more and more clear that that's what I want to create, because it allows me to be in my zone of genius more. It allows me to be in leadership more. And I want to create the business that's actually possible And I want to create the sustainable fair exchange so that people can see, hey, this is what you're actually paying for and getting and investing into. And how do we do more of this in this life? And so it's not just an entourage of yes people. That's the thing, like when I remember watching the show Entourage, part of me wanted to have that life, right? The entourage of people around me that I love. But it's not just to party with and tell me that I'm the best, and when you don't, get the fuck out of here. It's how do I make such clear job descriptions, and then once you get the base part of it down, everything else gets to expand around it. And recognizing, for me especially, there's people that want to be in my orbit. And it's not out of ego that I say that, but because I spend so much time doing this that it's inevitable that I can support others who are not as comfortable spending this much time doing this part, because they've got other things they want to do. And then just being in each other's orbit, we can support each other then. Support each other's genius. They can come and they can go. They can come and they can grow. And that's part of it as well. It's like I'm enjoying bringing people in, helping them grow, and then, hey, if you're doing better than I am, quote unquote, wonderful. And that's my practice over and over. I come back to acceptance. It's the acceptance with the humility that it's not all about me. And sometimes I forget, because part of my ego really does want to be like, I am the very best at this, and you're gonna respect that and see that. And it's like, all right, I'm good. I'm not necessary. I want to enhance, but I don't want to be a crutch. So I'm talking about these dreams in that way because I'm seeing it more and more. I was listening to the Gaia Immersion Conference yesterday, and I listened to one, I think Sergeant Jerry, and he's talking about the 12-stranded DNA again, and I'm seeing that. And the other day when I was meditating on 369, the test of numbers is like 3 plus 9 is equal to 12. Okay, 12-stranded. Oh, but 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. Are we actually aiming for 15-stranded? Oh, 3 plus 6 plus 9 is equal to 18. There's something about 18 that's even more powerful, and then 1 plus 8 is equal to 9 again. And everything keeps cycling back to itself. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, right? Like there's 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. There's so many cool things about this 369. There's so many cool things about all these encoded patterns. And sometimes I know people listening going like, that seems so simple. It's basic, it's arithmetic. It's like, but there's something there. There's all these hidden codes that we've given ourselves. And even the hidden code of, he's like, oh, the priest's wearing something to protect their necks because, they're protecting themselves from the matrix, and the matrix being plugged in back there. And what if there is a plug in there? It's the same idea of what if doing all the enemas that I was doing wasn't just for clearing out the poop, but actually clearing out and protecting myself from any other ways of being controlled that are there. And part of it is, can I look both at not conspiracy or looking at it from, oh my God, we're victims of some crazy controlling mechanism. Rather, let's play with all these ideas. Let's I want to let go of active disbelief. Oh my God, this cannot be. It's like, wait, let's open myself to the possibility of it. Take the time to guide my life the way I want, protect myself the way I want, and then just live. Even this green juice, like I could look at it like, oh my God, I must get all these nutrients, all this stuff. What I'm actually interested in is like, how do I take concentrated sunshine from these beautiful plants, crush it into this beautiful drink, and have it? And thank you to my dear friend Darren for introducing this to me. Thank you for the growers, the farmers, the transporters, everything else. And it's really sad that I can't just have this naturally produced nearby from someone that I know and love. And that's what I'd really love, is have all this grown myself and to create it myself and know where it's coming from. Oh, I'm just looking at a picture of my beloved with a little tiny owl. We were in an owl cafe in Japan, and looking at it, yeah, there's the whole idea of, man, these owls should not be inside there. And I'm really glad we got to appreciate that, appreciate that close-up connection with these beautiful birds. It's such a reminder, like, there's the beauty and the joy there, and then there's the looking at it from another lens going, oh, these caged animals, and I don't know what the truth is. I personally don't know. And if I really believe that there's an omniscient, omnipotent being or beingness that's at the basis of all this? Who am I to question it? And my whole existence is to question it and see what wants to come up, not feeling good or bad. And again, I keep coming back to over and over again, everything is perfect exactly the way it is. Doesn't mean we have to keep repeating myself or ourselves. It means that I get to keep choosing, and life is a choice. And how do I create different default choices? And I'm programming in different default choices. One of them is just waking up early, getting up with the first rising. And for a while I've been sleeping in again. It's like, do I really want that? Because I can if I want to. I can sleep in. I can go back to sleep. I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to do this, and I might go back and rest again. I love taking naps. I love conscious rests. I love them actually more in a lot of ways than sleeping. And so that's probably why I'm doing this, because I like getting up, doing stuff, and then going back to rest. And I'm jumping over the place, but this feels really potent this morning. I'm getting ready for some live events. I'm going to create something on the equinox. Whether I have it with one person or whether I have it with a lot of people, it's okay. And where I have it, I might have my dear friend Matthew's place, and if I can't, that's okay too. And probably with some hape, with some medicine, with some breath, with some teachings, with some sharings, and it's okay however it wants to go. I'm starting to practice and play with right now. And I will acknowledge my dear teacher, Yvonne, because he helped me create the foundation for this way back when we did this. And I've been thinking about it myself as well. So now is the time to create it in the way that I feel like right now. And then let it unfold. Let it unfold however it wants to unfold. Just taking a breath. I love being in these spaces because I'm teaching, learning, facilitating, guiding, receiving all at the same time. And I'm practicing doing that with others to guide them to do the same thing, because everyone who's there is also a teacher and a receiver. So there's that piece, and in person, and there's the online Ohana breath, which I'm really grateful for. I'm getting more and more clear on. And I'm debating whether to make it a shorter time frame, at least the announcement to make it a short time frame, 90 minutes. Let's keep it within 90 minutes and see what's possible there. And then the third thing is the, what is the third thing? The third thing is the, it's going to come to me. Oh, the attunement, the collaboration with Judy Brooks, with Mike Reed, with some others. And it's a different container already. It's like someone else is doing the guided imagery leading into the breath, where I only have 20 minutes, so 20 minutes of guided breath. And just reminding people, let's drop into it. If you've done any conscious connected breathing before, feel free to drop into it. And I'm going to give some instructions. And the instructions are going to seem a little sparse. And it's perfect, because all of us are breathing right now, no matter what. And it's simple. And it's in the simplicity that everything happens. And you're welcome to keep breathing into the sound bath that serves you. And that's what I'm going to remind people. Feel free to keep breathing. When I am closing it up, don't feel like you need to close up your breath just because of that. And notice if you're just trying to drive because you've always been a driver. You just go, 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 go. And I look forward to that collaboration. I'm going to let them know that's what I plan to do as well, and see how things go there. And just trust myself. The biggest thing is continue to trust myself. I've got my own ability. And then I've got a private breath coming up on Monday, looking forward to. And looking forward to creating space for more incoming work. Work that just wants to be generated. Whether it is private breath, whether it is soul immersion, whether it is this XX Camp Backcountry Enlightenment. Those are the three kind of things right now. And then all the things in between, these in-person events that are continuing to build on and expand on and share what's going on. And then taking a look at who wants to keep joining, who's coming in, what has prevented more people from joining in. And then just taking the breath, letting it go. Taking the breath, letting it go. And then just noticing right now, I'm just thinking about Sanea and Ethos and Edit, and just thinking about all these products I want to get. And then recognizing, because there's a part of me that feels bad when I don't act on something right away. And there's a part of me that's remembering, I have everything I need. Everything else is a bonus. And so don't try to do something to please someone else. That's part of my own practice right now. And coming back to cleaning house, whether it's decluttering the home, whether it is actually cleaning up. And I'm thinking about cleaning up right now, cleaning up my financial house, cleaning up my spiritual house, cleaning up my physical house, cleaning up my social house. So good. So good. I'm just imagining our old home. So we moved recently, and where we moved from, we moved because the landlady said she wanted to sell the place. Great, it actually worked out really, really well for us. And we would have probably stayed there because it was just more convenient with all that's going on still. And because we embraced it, not because we embraced it, and we're so grateful because as we embraced it, we found a home that we're really happy with. It took a lot of energy, money, and cost more to move here, so don't get us wrong about that part. And we were just offered someone saying, oh, I think they rented other tenants there, and oh, you could bring them to court, and oh, you can get like even a whole year's worth of rent. And then we took a look and said, is that how we want to spend our energy? And that's part of the reminder. Sometimes I was reminded, it's like, oh, I don't want to invest because I don't want to, play in this market, play in this game. We're all playing in a certain game. Even these rules and regulations where you feel like I've got a rule that means that I have this right. All of those are just man-made. All of them are designed in a way to try to create enough protections, and all of them can be exploited. So the question is, and it's not good or bad if someone is quote unquote exploiting it, because sometimes it's important to see the fallacy of the rule. And part of it right now, whether I agree or disagree with what's actually going on, I do feel like there's a big shakeup that wants to happen because there's so many things that we keep saying, it just is. Like, oh, government is always going to be inefficient. Like, there's always going to be people that are part of the union that are taking advantage of it. There's capitalism's always going to be, maximizing profit and this insane psychotic machination that's called the corporation. And that's part of it, is how do you actually use these tools in a more conscious way, and actually be that barometer and keep changing too. And one of the biggest things that I really appreciated was my dear founding friend, Matt. He said, the best thing we'll do is see in 2 years, oh my God, I can't believe we did that way. That was ridiculous. How do we want to change that? And we will. And we will. I was looking at this Sergeant Jerry and his Star Magic page, and they're a ministry based out of Delaware, and I'm like, that's probably what we're going to get to eventually. But right now, the first things first is not to get all those things done. Let's just set up a corporation here. Let's just get it going. Let's pay our taxes and trust that it will unfold and we'll meet the right people to help guide us, because that's not my highest and greatest, is not trying to figure all that stuff out. It isn't. And I'm recognizing that now. I'm seeing people, even people with a lot of money, going through lots of teachings and things. I'm like, are you really excited about that? And some of them are. And I'm like, that's great that you're excited about it, because that's what I'd want to do. When I am even more quote unquote wealthy on paper in the monetary aspect, I look forward to having regular re-examinations. And that's part of this whole master life planning is this what I want to be learning right now? Right now, yeah, I want to be learning more about how to deliver what I'm delivering. I want to be learning more about how to be a better version of myself, more acceptance. I want to learn more about this business and leading and founding and confounding. I want to learn more about how to bring together teams and really, really clear on what I'm asking for, because those parts are important. And then as distinct from the places where I just want things cleaned up. I want this result. I don't care how we get there in a way. And it's not that I don't care completely. Oh my God, I'm just looking at one of my goddaughters and she's so much bigger now. But it's not that I don't care at all. It's that I'm choosing to defer those pieces. Because not every aspect of every part of life, it requires me to be in charge of. Wow. How much life has changed in the past 6 years, especially. I could not have imagined becoming a father, becoming a facilitator, a guide, a medicine man, becoming a teacher and a leader in some ways. Coming back to acceptance, like this whole nother layer of acceptance. Not having traveled the world in 6 years and being really happy because I've traveled the cosmos. I have traveled the cosmos, and part of it's because I traveled so much beforehand. And now I'm going back to it going, how do I want to travel? And I appreciate, was one of our friends, she said, every time I cross a time zone, I want to make sure I honor that time. I don't, like it's almost every hour of time difference, I want to spend at least a day there. And I think that's a general good rule of thumb. If I'm going to go all the way back to PEI, spend at least 4 days there. If I'm going to go to Toronto, spend at least 3 days there. I'm debating going to the Breakthrough Experience, and I actually think I got my beloved support. And then I'm debating going to the Immersion, and that's another thing. Debating going to Immersion, that's another thing. There's the financial component, there's the time component. It's probably a bit of both. I could probably definitely swing the time component. I could ask for some financial support. And this is the time to ask for it. This is the time to ask for it. I'm going to learn from how they run an event, which will be good. I'm going to learn my emotional intelligence, which is useful. I get to stay up there in the Brew Creek for a change, which is nice. And I get to fully receive for a change, which is nice as well. I don't know if I've actually been to one of her events yet, like actually been. This will give me more context as well. So I think there's enough things. Is there anything that says, no, I shouldn't? June 18th to 20th. Is there anything else I got planned then? No. It's after the closing of the case. So there's nothing that says I can't commit to it now. Probably a lot of people there. Yeah, so I'll chat with my beloved about that. So there's these things to decide on, and it's true, there's so many expenses in life. I was realizing our burn rate is over $10,000 a month right now. And I'm okay with that, and it's getting clear that that's the case. Like, we're spending over $333 a day, no matter what. So sometimes it gives me context for when something needs to be added in. How much is that adding in as a percentage of what we're already doing? And then taking a look at, oh my God, that's what we're already doing. Is that what we want to be doing here too? What would life be like if we decide to go somewhere else? Or live in a different way? So, here's the earth. It's a pretty sweet earth. I've forgotten that I'm doing magic mirror work, but not in the way where I've been trying to present to someone else. I've been letting things bubble up for myself, which I really appreciate. I can notice the shifts that have happened already. When I first started doing this, it really was, how do I keep going for you? And now it's, how do I be for me? And right now I've got a slideshow running in the background on my computer. And it's actually really helping. It's like just bringing up other memories. And It's noticing this whole magic mirror work is trying to bring up so much. It's stirring the pot. And in the stirring of the pot and in live, real time stirring the pot, I'm getting to see myself. And I'm getting to remember, okay, there's other things I want to do. Okay, I'm going to do some affirmations soon. Okay, I'm going to read my purpose and my mission statements. Okay, how do I do this regular daily work and do it in a way where I'm actually seeing myself? And then remind myself what are the important things to remind myself of. And then doing daily gratitude. There's so many things to be grateful for. Many of these pictures coming up from my son, but some of them are from before that time too. I was just looking at the Tokyo Fish Market, and we can't wait to go to Japan again. I'm seeing my grandfather who passed away last year. Okay, all right. And he got to meet my son. 4 generations, amazing. And I recently saw a picture of my whole family back in, I think it was in China, it was Hong Kong for sure, with my dad and his whole side of the family. I see my grandparents. I don't know if my great-grandparents were there or not. And then seeing my godchildren, and it's like, okay, I look forward to increasing my god family. There's a few kids where I'm like, I'm gonna talk to the parents going, I'd love to be a godparent. I don't need to be, but I'd love to be, and I just want you to know that. And it doesn't exclude or preclude anyone else. It's not like I need to be an exclusive godparent. And know that I'm happy to be a godparent. And if it actually is the case, let me know. And then we'll figure out at some point in time doing some kind of ceremony around this. Good, bad, indifferent, all good. And it does mean something to be a godparent. So that's the only thing to remember. Managing assets, managing money. In a way, I have not done a great job of that. That's part of my patterning that I've learned from my father, probably. Not to blame him, but he doesn't want to deal with any of that. And part of me is practicing dealing with and not dealing with at the same time. I was noticing I just had a list of things that I had left with other people, and how do I gather them back in? How do I gather them back in? Not because I'm like, I need to own this stuff. It's to honor it. It's to honor it again. And that's probably the same case with the tuning forks. It's to honor them and bring them back home again. Yeah, call them back home. Call them back home definitely before the next retreat. That's for sure. Just taking a breath, I'm like, okay, where do we do some of this work? Where do we do some of this work? Where do we do some of this work? And letting go of any attachment. I was just thinking of how to invest in the retreat center, and then putting it out there that there's a possibility, and if they're interested, let us know, and if they're not, that's okay. I will bring it up every time I remember, and there's no attachment to it. Not that there's no attachment. I'm practicing letting go of the attachment. Everything is a practice. Like I want to say there's no attachment, and that's part of me wanting to say there's no attachment. Supporting a mom these days, going through motherhood, and just, it's creating the safety in motherhood, the safety to be who you want to be. The safety to get to choose whether you want to work or not, the safety to get to choose whether you want to play or not, the safety to get to choose how your child interacts with the system these days. And I say the system because it feels like there is a system. And there is. There's a medical system, there's a schooling system, there's a government system, there's a housing system. And it's like, how do you actually want to live? Not just how are you supposed to live. Because how do you want to live? Do you want to live in a place where you're settled down, roots down for decades? Or do you want to move around? Or do you want to be a world traveler? Do you want to be a world schooler? Do you want to use Western medical interventions? Do you want to use holistic, naturalistic, homeopathic? What foods are you putting in? Breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, co-sleeping, not co-sleeping. Recognizing that every single permutation of parenthood has existed, and there's benefits and downsides to all of them. Right now, we're co-sleeping, and the benefit is there's such a closeness, like we know what's going on right away. The downside is, man, sometimes it's like, are we breeding dependence on us? Like, oh my God, can they not settle themselves? And there's that thought in my head, and then a realization's like, wait a second, what has it that I think that they need to be able to do that, aside from my own comfort? And then sometimes it's supporting even my beloved to go do something for herself so I can have a dad and son day and night. And it'll be a different kind of challenge, and I get to remember, I'm like, I'm so grateful for you being the primary nighttime person. God help me. It's easier to judge when you're like, if it was just me and him, it would be different. It's like, yeah, and if it was just him and me, God, I'd be tired. And as that builds up, can I imagine what that'd be like after years? No. It's the reason why I can do this in the morning. I can step away and be like, I know that my son is great. And that's the easy part these days, is just to judging everyone else. Like, it's funny. I'm looking at the news headlines. I used to look and be really smirky about it, like, oh, world's richest man, Elon Musk, has lost $178 billion in 2 months. It's like, A, he hasn't. I mean, the price of the shares have gone down, but until you sell them, they're not a realized loss. B, I've done that before for sure, lost over half of my net worth before. It just hasn't been that big a number. C, what has it that that's what the paper wants to lead with, and how are so many of the media outlets trying to actively bring it down right now? Like, it's hilarious watching it. D, most likely there's going to be some rebound effect. Yes, rarely does this happen that you completely destroy someone unless they've really done something. And at this stage, not having some kind of major thing against them is a realization that they don't have a major thing against them, because if they did, it would already be out. That's the thing I sometimes remind myself of, especially these public figures. Not like the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world, even the Bill Cosbys of the world. It was active not wanting to go to there. Here, there's a lot of people that want to go there. And there are demons in the closet. He's got lots of kids with different partners. I can't imagine what's going to come out. But having read a little bit more of some of his biographies and people he's really pushed hard, trying to create something, trying to make some real changes. And I can respect that, even if I don't always agree with the methods or the way he's trying to make changes. And that's a piece I'm reminding myself is, I can agree with 80% of someone, disagree with 20%, or agree with 20%, disagree with 80%. It's okay. The world is not here to be just more of what I think it's supposed to be. Even though that's really frustrating at times, because the little boy inside me wants things exactly the way that I want them. And how do I notice that that's still there, the acceptance piece? Because that's the part that I can see in my own son, the acceptance. The power of breath. The power of breath. It's fun to go through periods of contemplation. That's what I'm doing right now. It's a deep period of contemplation. It's the winter. And I'm looking at it I'm looking at these people on stage going, I could do that. I should be on stage there. I'm like, I'm grateful that I'm not yet on those stages. I want to step on those stages from a place of there's so much material, so much comfort, so much discomfort, so much knowing, and so much clarity in what I want to speak about. Because there's an infinite number of things I could speak about. I think a big part of it right now is that life is perfect, and it's okay. Acceptance of that perfection does not prevent me from wanting things to change as well. It seems like a paradox, and it's not. Life is perfect. Life is perfect. Every single moment accepting, and sometimes it's hard. When we had trouble finding our cat the other day, and I thought maybe he was so sick he died. I had that thought. And I thought, shit, I'm gonna have to be with this if that's the case. I did not plan on being with this soon, but that's an important reminder, death. And noticing that when, not see this as me trying to plant a seed for myself. Almost trying to prevent myself. It's like, when you get too cocky, death's gonna come. It's like, no, like death's gonna come when death's gonna come. The cockiness will just make it a little bit more challenging to be with. And it's not pretending not to be cocky either. It's such a tricky part. It's not like faking the humility. It's being with actual humility. Being with actual humility. Being with actual humility. Having so much fun in this life. Having so much fun in this life. Just watching some of these pictures and seeing the children especially, and they're all so much older now. It's going to keep changing. There's the death that happens every day of the old version. That's a reminder. That 1-year-old son that I had, he's dead now. In that way. And that's the beauty of having a child as well. They remind you over and over again. Like, it's sometimes like, oh, let's just put this off till tomorrow, till the next day, till the next day, till the next season. It's going to change. It's going to keep changing. He's so different now than he was. And it's perfect to watch and to witness this. And it's not easy to watch and to witness this. He's already, there's a picture of him, it's like he's making a speech. And he's reminding me, it's like, how do we be on these podiums? How do we be the fathers on these podiums and really own the fatherhood? Like, I really want to own that fatherhood aspect as well. Unplanned, being so present. That's one of the things. And that was a piece of breaking into acceptance. Oh, that was acceptance right there. At the birth, not breathing, the room cleared out, 30 people in there thinking that there's a major heart malformation. There was acceptance there, going, okay, whatever is going to come is going to come. Just let it go. Just let it go. Accept it, accept it, accept it, accept it, accept it. And it was freaking fun after that, accepting it. Just saw a picture of my dear friend John Downs, and he has such an acceptance of a break in his neck even. Crazy. And I'm just noticing there's all these things that could have happened. I made them too complex. Just keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm trying to modulate so many things. Man. One step at a time. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. Loving my cat, loving the beings around me. It's funny because I can see, I didn't have pets before. I didn't really have even a partner before because they were unknowns, uncontrollables. Life was easier without them. And it's living in amidst them that's the real work right now for me. Now that I'm amongst them, sometimes I get that reminder that, like, do you even want us around? It seems like you're happier being by yourself, and there's a way that I am. There's a part of me that's the hermit, the wanderer, that just wants to go and be on my own. And then I remember that's part of the reason I had such a deep loneliness of my own for the first 30 some odd years of my life. And part of it is your voids drive your values. If I hadn't had that, there's a part of me that always look at the grass is green on the other side. I'd rather be on my own. Way easier. And then as well, the business not having worked out, being on my own where I wanted to be. It's like, you know what it's like if you want to do it solo? Is that what you really want? And then community, not having a sense of community, not even know who to turn to. Now having so many people to turn to that sometimes I'm like, who do I actually invite in? And now it's like, oh yeah, who do you actually want to be really good friends with? Who? One step at a time. one step at a time. Funny to see how things have evolved, how things are changing. Who's coming in, who's going in my life right now. Remembering my resistance to having a pet. And I still have resistance to more pets, that's for sure. Because like, how do we deal with all these beings, and do we really want to have these beings? And more doesn't always mean better. But letting go of trying to control it. And just accepting what wants to come. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Man, back in the days when I did acro yoga and I had two women that I was holding up at once. And then it reminds me of my cheerleading days, holding up two people at once as well. It's like, there's some crazy things that I've done. Really fun things, and I'm glad I did them. And part of me wants to do them again, because especially the sports that I did, acro yoga and power cheerleading, get to be with so many beautiful women and be friends with them and get to do crazy stunts with them. And then crazy things with ceremony and working with people that I love. And oh yeah, sending out a message to my dear friend Kyle Kingsbury soon. There's so many things. And then trying out things like methylene blue. Like, there's so many things that I want to experiment with. Life is just this one giant experiment. And my dear friends Mike and Yeli. Okay, shall I get to reading some of these things? Now that we're 52 minutes in. So spiritually, balanced energy, mentally, certainty and clarity and learnings and experiences. Vocationally, easy, lucrative, fun business with founders and contractors impacting greater than 100 people per year. Financially, automated financial systems, clean, clear investing, and growing 10,000 plus per month. Familially, fully supported family and home life wherever we are globally. Socially, social circle filled with inspiration, presence, love, enthusiasm. Physically, energy, vitality, clarity, greater than ever, and clear choices and tools. The 10 daily pillars of wisdom: inspired action, loving service, silent presence, grateful prayer, divine guidance, sharing wisdom, caring sincerely, study truths, temperate rhythm, fair exchange. Fair exchange, temperate rhythm, study truths, caring sincerely, sharing wisdom. Divine guidance, grateful prayer, silent presence, loving service, inspired action. Action inspired, service loving, presence silent, prayer grateful, guidance divine, wisdom sharing, sincerely caring, truths study, rhythm temperate, fair exchange. 4:46, so just past 4:44. So let's take a look at the affirmations first. I'm a conscious leader, teacher, guide, facilitator, lover, father, husband, and I am present with each and every moment of life. Funny that I wanted to add leader in there today. Leader. I'm a conscious leader, teacher, guide, facilitator, lover, father, husband, and I am present with each and every moment of life. Got the 10 daily pillars of wisdom there. Inspired action, loving service, silent presence, grateful prayer, divine guidance, sharing wisdom, caring sincerely, study truths, temperate rhythm, fair exchange. I do what I love, and I love what I do. One of the things I really appreciated from Dr. Demartini is he's like, delegate everything. I only teach, research, and travel. Everything you delegate, and if you don't want to delegate it, you're not ready to delegate it, or you don't have the means to delegate it yet, then change your values so you love what you're doing. Because I do what I love, or I love what I do, and I love what I do. Because number one is if you can delegate all the things that you don't love. Number two is if you can love what you can't delegate. And then it's intrinsic motivation. And that's part of it. It's continuing to bring up the financial house in order in my intrinsic motivation, bringing up the home in decluttered, beautifying order. Because that's, again, intrinsic motivation. Like, bring those up over and over again. It really impacts my own mindset, my own values, impacts my beloved. Can I take a look at continue to let go of things that no longer serve me? If there's something I don't need, then I don't need it. If I don't need it, then why am I keeping it? If I'm keeping it and I don't need it, then oh my God, what is going on? More and more, there's so many boxes. Boxes, little boxes. Okay. A genius is one who sees the guiding light of their soul, listens to the internal message, and obeys. Make the rest of my life the best of my life. I am strength, I am love, I am joy. I create my reality in every moment, in every hour, and every day. Every day I'm healthier, every day I'm happier, every day I'm clearer. I'm just thinking about the telepathy tapes now and just reminding myself, precognition, soul recognition. These people can just download and learn languages and skills and everything else. And I want to be in their presence. I want to spend some more time in their presence and both give in the ways that I can give and receive in the ways that I can receive. I'm just imagining the presence of breath and of medicine in there, of being inside a container, what that might be like. Being inside of an energetic container, what that might be like. And over creating more of these containers. That's what my dear friend Robin Clements is doing. And I'm just recognizing, I just want to acknowledge that he's doing that. And trusting myself to step into that in my own way. And I don't know how that's going to go yet. I don't need to try to know how it's going to go yet. And part of it is doing containers my way right now first, which is intentional. It's more longitudinal and supporting that piece. And part of it may be I'll realize is the wrong way to go. There's a part of me that wondering, am I going the wrong way? And I'm like, you know what? Pick a direction, go, and see where you end up first. Sometimes it's just so easy to want to switch directions right away. There's a reason we start going this direction. There's a reason we got to remind ourselves why we're going this direction, because I'm going to start questioning it. So let's remind myself. Founding with Matt and Marika, because I recognize I know how I can do things on my own. I've gotten to a certain stage, and sometimes it goes great, but people work in spite of me, not because of me. Because in spite of me, it really is organizing the money with me, organizing the location with me, all these details, and it's just amazing that anyone's ever actually worked with me in a way. And I really want to have more of that unreasonable hospitality. And I really want to take a look at the values. Oh, I haven't actually reviewed the values that Marika sent me, and actually take a look at how do we elevate each other's values. So there's that piece. And then B is how do we work together? How do we have a team where we know so much of each other and we care so much about each other that we want this to succeed? And having founders means that we all own what we're doing. It's not just I'd like to do this. Like, no, I'm owning this. This is what we're doing. And that's how the work keeps going, even without me having to be at the helm all the time, because that's me. Like, I love coming in, going, coming in, going, coming in, going. And it was just a start, stop, that my brain eventually was like, let's just not do anything. And now I can at least say the big dreams and let it go. So there's that piece. Taking it back a step now, taking it back a step now, taking it back a step now. Let's look at the soul immersion. We're creating this 5-month container for a ceremony. And it seems ridiculous in a way, because it used to be just a ceremony was something that you go to a group thing, you sign up, a couple $100, and you show up. You journey, you go home. You have a little bit of integration. And now I'm looking at creating this 5 months, $10,000 container. And there's a reason for that. Because it helps to filter out, do you really want to invest that time and energy? So I really want to highlight that the people I want to work with are so committed that that's the way it's going to go. The reason for that is that I always say to myself, if I'm spending time away from the family, I want it to be worthwhile. And I'm creating more of the foundation for it to actually be worthwhile for myself and for the clients. And then how do I make it even more powerful by the time you get to ceremony, especially? That's what I was really getting good at last year. It's like, oh man, all right, we've got to have at least 3 breaths together. And then I realized, okay, it's not just about me. You got to have at least a session with, it was Elizabeth and the esoteric side. And then, oh my God, you got to have some body work as well. Oh, you've got to have some intention setting with my dear friend Marika, because then it's actually getting some different kind of guidance. It's not just me guiding people all the time, which not bad, but it's wonderful to get different perspectives. And then all of that, you may actually have your ceremony before the ceremony. And can you even be open to that idea? Like the things that you think you want to create, I've already created. Now it's just bonus time. And I love that in the beginning of the day of the ceremony. It's like, hey, have you gotten what you wanted? Yes, great. Now we're in bonus. And that reminds me of those highest priority actions that Dr. Demartini says. It's like you can keep throwing out more and more intentions, more and more highest priority things, because it doesn't have to stay static. You can get it and then keep going, get it and then keep going, get it and then keep going. And then you can also just sit back and just bask in it all. So there's that piece. And then bringing it back to the everyday world, because most of the time we're so invested in the thing itself, we come out like, everything is bliss. We're good, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. And a few weeks later, how are things going? Oh shit. And what if we already had it set up ahead of time? That when you get the, oh shit, you're not on your own. Because so many people jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off. And that's a piece too. I'm gonna have to create some more videos for this. It's just a show. It's not just a business, it's life. It's ceremonies. This is the person that goes on 250 ayahuasca ceremonies. And it's like, I love that idea. It's like, if you've been on 250 ayahuasca ceremonies, you should be fucking enlightened. And if you're not, then you're just jumping off, jumping off, jumping off, as opposed to seeing it all the way through. What's the thing that's there all the way through? And we forget that, because ayahuasca isn't a ceremony that you do occasionally. It's a way of life and living, and you're inside the tribe, inside the container continuously. And that's what I'm trying to do, is create a new version of tribe, container, community. How do we do that in a way where it's sustainable, fair exchange as well? How do we do that in a way where we're growing something new, and there's gonna be some growing pain, some discomfort, some judgments especially. We're being with the judgments, especially one of the biggest judgments is gonna be around money, especially from the spiritual community. Actually, let's reframe that. One of the biggest judgments possible is around money from the spiritual community, or from the pushback of people going, you're making things inaccessible. And that brings me back to the Ohana breath. And that's part of the dichotomy too. It's like, how do you have a $19 breath and a $10,000 program? And then there's the retreat that we're doing too, but we'll get to that later. And part of it for me was, I always wanted the breath to be accessible, this online breath. And I would love it if this breath was the one creating the bulk of the income. Like if there's 10,000 people at it, all paying $19, amazing. I have no doubt that we'll create exactly what they need to do. And as we have more numbers, it will elevate the experience. Elevate the experience. And something is missing, is actually getting there. Something is missing in getting the word out. And I don't know what it is. I don't. Part of it is actually redoing the website as well. How we want to redo it, that's a good question. Making it more functional, definitely. Making it prettier, yes. But how to redo it, that's the piece that I'm looking forward to. Spending the time with my team, my founding team, and saying, okay, how do we actually redo this? And I'm going to give them some clues. I have this idea for Bitcoin breath. Oh my God, we're going to incentivize this. We're going to supercharge it, turbocharge it. Do something completely crazy that hasn't been done, and then see and run with it and see how it goes. But again, first it comes down to what it is that we're actually trying to do. And part of it for me is just to reveal myself, especially to my founding partners. That's why I love them. That's part of this magic mirror work. I'm going to actually start putting in here. If there's something you want to share with me, something you want to push back to me, something you want to say to me, throw it in the comments. Say it to me out loud. Send me a message if you know me. All of it's welcomed. And if you don't get a reply, apologies and not apologies. That's not the goal of life right now. More and more, my work for myself is to approve of my own life. And then to remind people, how do you create your own approval? It's these false gods, these false approvals we're trying to get from the outside, that's really causing some troubles. Let's go back to the affirmations. I create my reality in every moment, in every hour, and every day. Every day I'm healthier, every day I'm happier, every day I'm clearer. Every day in every way I'm getting stronger and stronger. We're going to finish this 500-piece puzzle today. That's my 4-year-old. That kind of conviction. And he did. It was awesome. My genius elevates me beyond my daily illusions. I listen to my heart, which awakens my genius. I walk through the darkened doorway where fear lurks, and I turn on the light. I walk through the darkened doorway where fear lurks, and I turn on the light. It's funny, it's even the little fears of the fear of the dark. I am getting better with it, and there's still traces of it there. I'm getting better with my beloved and my son love doing the boo and the scaring. And I know for myself, they're redoing my childhood for me, because my cousins would put their hands on light switches. They would scare me, and I hated it. It's part of what had my nervous system on edge. And I can just feel it even right now. And can I actually be with it and transmute that energy? And I have transmuted so much of the fear of the unknown, especially stepping into the unknown over and over again. It's just taking a look at what are the other unknowns to step into. Taking a look at the other unknowns to step into now. I link everything I do to my mission, and I'm inspired by my life. I look for the genius in everyone I meet. I talk to myself with the respect due a great genius. Thank you for giving me this experience. Forgiveness is a passing milestone on the path of love and truth. There are no victims, just lessons in love. Nothing is missing, it just changes form. Everything serves, including me. Gratitude is heaven, ingratitude is hell. Where is God not? There is nothing but love, and all else is illusion. Love them for who they are, and they become who you love. Put them on a pedestal, and put them in the pit. If two people are exactly the same, one of them isn't necessary. I speak from my heart, and people listen. All right. Whew. This thing just popped up, but they're trying to install the new iOS on my phone. I thought it was going to stop this, and it didn't. Thank you. Happiness and sadness are the two sides of fulfillment. There's nothing to fix but much to love. I have a great vision, and money flows to help me fulfill it. I'm just imagining right now getting a bunch of the bamboo katanas, doing some of the kendo work, and even asking my brother Brent, for example, to buy a bunch of them, and seeing if that's possible, and letting go of it. And yeah, it's all these things. It's dissolving layers, especially of money. Death is an illusion. Life just changes form. There is a vast intelligence running the world, and it is in order. In love, there is no loss. I look at great spans of time and see great order. One answer to the 4 great questions is that we are stars, but love and light are equally true answers. The universe is an infinite school of unending spiritual light. We're here to learn, teach, and become our true nature, love and light, and those closest to us are our greatest teachers and students in the school of life. And then I meet a sage, a wise being with a universal perspective. And what does he talk about? Eternity. He doesn't think in terms of mortal time and space. He thinks about forever. Thank you for my skills and opportunities to participate in this world. This, too, is a lesson in love. I take no credit and take no blame. Whatever appears, I look for the other side and am free. Whatever I see is me. I'm a human being. I have every trait in perfect balance, and they all serve. I'm just imagining getting these swords and starting to play with my son and everything else, and start playing with some other men, and really starting to actually step into this way of being, this sword fighting, and just trusting. All right. Let's see here. I do what I love, and I love what I do. I'm a genius, and I apply my wisdom. A genius listens to the guidance of the soul and obeys. The pain of regret outweighs the pain of discipline. I am worthy of having my dreams come true. I see my dreams with crystal clarity. I am worth it. I deserve to have my dreams. I deserve to take the time to focus on the infinite details to create them. I have a human will, and I'll align it with divine will and allow it to fill me and inspire me to write down each dream in a specific fashion. No matter what I have done or have not done, I am worthy of love. Love is all there is. Everything else is illusion. How is this helping me fulfill my destiny? I am worthy of having all of my dreams come true. I am made of light. What can harm me? No matter what I have done or have not done, I am worthy of love. Life is a gift. Thank you. My true nature is love and wisdom. Wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that crisis is a blessing. I listen to my immortal nature, and it knows. I am magnificent just the way I am. If my mom was a mother I hoped she would be, I would not be the man I am proud to be today. The universe is waiting for me to declare my worth. His dream has to die in order for mine to live. And that's the thing about the blessing of the Father and the expectations of the Father. Not that his dream for himself has to die for mine to live, but his dreams for me and the ones he's trying to impart on me have to die in order for mine to live. Because otherwise I'm trying to live his dreams instead of my dreams. And it's such an amazing thing to start noticing the decisions, the choices that cut off everything else. Like every single moment cuts off everything else. Right now, me doing this magic mirror work cuts off all the ability to actually do other calls, other things like that. And it's so clear because I can't use my phone for something else. And sometimes I look at this even, I'm like, this is a fucking waste of time. I should be doing so many other things. I should be speaking on stage. I should be charging money for things. I should be doing all this stuff. I should be resting. I should be playing. And yes, this is my reminder. I've been doing so much work. The work of life isn't to do the work. And when I'm attached to or addicted to actually doing the work instead of living life, it'll be interesting. Right now, I see me as building a really strong foundation. I'm building a really strong foundation because there is an unlearning process. And that's part of what has me build the system into the soul immersion in the 5 months, because it's actually making space for the unlearning process. We want to have the results so quickly. And some people do. There's a rarity that do. And then we want to, and we're jealous and we have a fantasy that we'll be them. Part of why we're creating the soul immersion is we're getting rid of the fantasy that I can deliver what you want in the way that you want it, in the price that you want it, and the time that you want it. Let's let go of a couple of things. Time and money. It's going to take longer than you want. It's going to cost more than you want. Cool. Now that we're there, you still want to go for it. Because if you are, fucking let's go. And if you're not, take a few breaths. Go ahead and try someone else. Keep coming around. And if you get what you want from another program, amazing. Amazing. I hope I'm not being too loud if there's someone in there. Holy crap. I forget that sometimes. I'm just trying to practice noticing what's going on. Okay. All right. I'm grateful, I'm loving, inspired, I'm enthusiastic. Gratitude, love, inspiration, enthusiasm. Feelings that help people draw money to me. The universe is my playground, the world is my home, and every country is another room in the house. I have a photographic, audiographic mind. Whatever is really important to me, I got for life. I'm a master reader. Whatever I read, I retain. I always have a choice. The only constant is change. Everything is a story. I feel to heal. It's going to be a wunderbar day. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. So those are the affirmations I've been working with. There's 83 of them now. Hopefully I didn't click out any of them. I have no idea if I did. Oh, actually I can take a look at the ones that are completed at some point in time. Getting to all this stuff, in some ways I'm like, why am I recording this? In other ways, I'm reminding myself, magic mirror work, so keep noticing when I'm talking to you versus talking to me. Accountability, asynchronous. Eventually, probably, I'll be doing some kind of live to my communities while I do this, which would be hilarious and hilariously bad, because who wants to see me doing live of this? That'd be ridiculous. And after I create a repertoire or a library, I'll probably do that. I'm just thinking that now. Magic mirror work. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? Listening to the talk about AI yesterday and generating consciousness in it, it's interesting to see how it can work. It's just interesting to imagine how I can incorporate that in my life. And that's another lesson and skill to learn. The first thing is to continue to notice myself. This is what I'm trying to do, is create a stronger version of myself first before I interface with it more. And that could just be a story too. All these things are just stories. Like the strength of self is already there. It's unpeeling the layers that say that it's not there. The lies that we tell ourselves and then we keep trying to say to remind ourselves, and then how do I let it go, right? Everything I need is right here, right now. My whole consciousness, my whole cosmos, the whole pharmacopoeia is all here, is all here. Everything else is a lie. And thank you for all the tools, and thank you for the unfolding, and thank you for this life, because I could be the singularity and seeing everything at once in all cosmos and all creation. Is that what I really want to do right now? Now I'm getting to experience this version of life right now from this facet. Awesome. And what if we are every single consciousness out there? We keep going through it and we keep looking at the brothers and sisters and just that's me. Awesome. That's another vantage point of life. And what if we are plugged into a matrix where we're in some kind of hellish landscape and I'm plugged in, my energy is being sapped out, but I'm getting to enjoy life like this right now. Awesome. And what if when I get unplugged someday, I'm looking back going, I can't believe I did that. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everything is it's going to be a wunderbar day. It's going to be a wunderbar day. That statement changes everything. That statement changes everything. And I'm really appreciating that habit. I, Nicholas Hogar Wong, hereby declare before myself, others, and God, that my primary purpose in life is to be a soul doctor, first for myself, and then for all those around me, by teaching, serving, guiding, facilitating. And I will do this through taking the highest priority actions every day, including taking the time for myself to explore, to do the magic mirror work, to grow, to do the DeMartini method, to practice affirmation and incantations, to look at my master life plan, to continue to hone in and be clear on what it is that I can most deliver into the world and practice delivering it. Right now through my Ohana Sage and Ohana Breath companies, with my founding partners, Marika and Matt, and eventually that will continue to expand, and I'll set up automatic systems for the intake and for the support, and for the sustainable fair exchange. Also for the automatic savings of at least 10%, and the investing and growing of assets, and the delegation of how to manage not just the money, but also the areas of life that are my lower priority actions, and are so important and high in the values, especially those of my beloved and those I care about. I want to keep growing my biological family, as well as growing my Ohana or spiritual family, and I'll also share what I learn as quickly as possible, and as thoroughly as possible, and as completely as possible, so that I contribute to the collective wisdom of the world. And I will have wealth in all 7 areas of life, already recognizing that life is perfect and I am so wealthy. And I continue to welcome and invite in more wealth and manage it as well as I can, and give it purpose and flow and clear direction, so that I can create not just for the next year, 10 years, decades, but for the generations and the lifetimes to come. I do this not because I want to hold on to it all and say it's mine. Rather, I'm getting clearer and clearer on my message. And by creating more wealth, I can spread that message more clearly and really found the school of unlearning. From the vocational aspect, just imagine the school of unlearning right now, that's all. I recognize how important it is. And I'm mentioning the telepathy tapes a lot more now because I can see that being something for the unlearning process. Even if, let's say, worst case scenario, turns out it's a complete hoax. Complete hoax. Like truly a hoax, like malicious people creating this in order to destroy some and collapse some belief patterns outside of the materialistic belief pattern. Let's say that that's the case. And even if they find loopholes and all that stuff, second case, I love the fact that this is here and this level of consciousness is there and the possibilities are there. And I'm remembering that's the important thing. I don't need to know whether this is true or not. And sometimes that's the pace that people get hung up on. Oh my God, like it's the same idea as what if they faked the moon landings? So what? And is there an objective reality, right? As if there's an objective reality and suddenly our objective reality has changed. Our whole timeline has changed. A story has changed. And then we get to be reminded everything is a story. Everything is a story. This whole idea that, this person is a fascist, this person is good, this person is liberal. All those are just stories. They're narratives. And how many publicity people are involved? Right? How many messaging people are involved with any of these people at the highest levels? So do not doubt that some of this is coming from different kinds of messaging. Every single headline is a messaging headline. Someday, if I'm lucky enough, I'll be on a messaging headline of some kind. Someday, if I'm lucky enough, I won't be on a messaging headline of some kind. It's okay. It's not the goal. I'm a master teacher, guide, facilitator, medicine man, traveling the world and transforming lives, and studying from the most inspiring people at the edge of challenge and support. I am sought after. I impact the one as powerfully as the many, and I'm so excited when I have the opportunity to impact many people at once, and so excited when I get to impact one person at a time, and being able to impact those I meet, I most desire for the greatest effect for a more beautiful world. I am a leader of leaders, a leader of facilitators, a leader of guides, and at the same time, I'm able to keep seeking the leaders and guides that I want to seek. I attend the breakthrough experience, the training, the integration, and the habit-forming work that follows afterwards. The creation of a business and founding with partners, especially for Ohana Sage, and including Ohana Breath, creating milestones and practicing follow-through, planning, hiring, founding, creation of a team that is coming together, crafting the visions and willing the speed of my life, creating easy, lucrative, and fun ways to bring this team together, and to travel and explore in a safe and courageous and wondrous manner. To do this with gratitude, forever as inquisitive explorers, seekers of wonder, seekers of experiences, integrators of experiences, harmonizer and balancer of experiences, and finding the harmony between seeking adventure and growing the foundation to make the foundation really solid so this can exist with or without me. It doesn't depend on me. I enhance it. I do not make it dependent on me. I generate sustainable fair exchange from this to generate the foundation of financial freedom, to know that I can create this no matter what, knowing that no matter what my asset base is, I always have the opportunity and ability to create easy, lucrative, and fun work again. I have a team that really wants to work with me and that we feel like Ohana, like family, and some may come, some may go, and many love to stay, and we get to build and deepen our relationships, deepen them through all the different ways that we work together, challenge each other at the edge of challenge and support. I have the recognition of people I admire, people I love and care about, and let go of the opinion of strangers. I have something that is sought after, something where I keep being in the highest and best, where I have all the trainings and retreats and support to move with the challenges and actually drive the next level. As I'm reading this, I'm remembering a rift I had with a friend and their beloved, and just recognizing we were thinking of coming back together and that I haven't actually reached out. And part of it probably is that I don't know how that reconnection is going to go. And there's part of me even worried about the hugs and everything else, and already feeling the anxiousness, and grateful that I'm feeling that right now, and then just noticing it being there instead of ignoring it. That's part of the work of this magic mirror work, is what's coming up. What are the subconscious stories that are bubbling through? And this is before I came to the insight that I choose to, I love to appreciate beauty, especially the beauty of women, and being able to take that beauty and the witnessing and bring it back to seeing the beauty of my beloved. And I was speaking to my beloved yesterday, going, I see the beauty in you, and I see my own judgment of you too. And I see my own judgment reflected in your own judgment of yourself. And I didn't say the second piece. And it's a practice to say that. And it's like, okay, there is still judgment. And it's like letting go of those patterns into not just acceptance, but divine acceptance and love. And it's so easy, like this world is just a revolving world of youth. And it's the the striving, the trying to reconnect with the youth, that's the challenge sometimes. And I am grateful that I'm looking younger in many ways and feeling younger in many ways, but there's a part of me probably that's still chasing the youth as well, and just to own that. Yeah, when I was in my 20s, I could do anything in this body, felt like. I remember I was 26 when I pulled it back for the first time. That was a wake-up call. I remember that moment. It seared in my head. It's like, oh shit, I can't just come off a 30-hour shift and just expect to go play ultimate frisbee and be fine. And remembering taking those real muscle relaxants in order to be able to move, like crawling out of bed, calling for help. Wow. Family. I am the father I want to be, a loving, fun, firm, and kind father. I'm a husband, a man, a son, a brother. I'm a leader in the familial home, living at home wherever I am in the world, comfortable wherever I am in the world. It's like having the most comfortable ass in the world. Anywhere I sit is the most comfortable seat ever. I am the kind of father who inspires others to want to be fathers, not some fantasy, but the reality. I am learning from the children, learning from the brothers, learning from the parents, learning from the generations before and afterwards. That's the biggest thing of being in a family. It's that every single person is a teacher, whether they're young or whether they're older, whether they're wise or whether they're stupider, whether they make mistakes or whether they're getting it just right. I am in play and wonder while learning. We play together as a family because that's the experience we want of living in this world. And continue to develop relationships where there's more trust, as trust is the currency we want to play with, and building that cycle of trust and noticing when the cycle of trust gets broken and resolving that as much as possible internally within our own family rather than having to seek outside external laws. Bring it back whenever possible. I have several children who are very supported in their upbringing. I have close relationships where we spend time together and get to see and say what our favorite things are. We get to read stories, we get to play, and we get to travel together and have family vacations that are actually really fun and exciting and adventurous and new and novel, and they're not a rush or an escape. Work and play and family are so intertwined, and work and spirituality and family are so intertwined that I don't have to sacrifice one for the other, but rather each one enhances the other. And there's a knowingness of the enhancement that everyone wants us to have all three working in union, working in sacred union, working in communion. That was fun. Almost done this, probably 1.5 liters of juice. It's crazy. It's crazy how much fluid, how much goodness, how much fiber is coming in right now. Just going to take a look. All right. I'm a transcendental, loving, grateful, inspired, enthusiastic, certain and present being, and presence right now is my peace. I am in my simplicity and grounded visions, and I'm able to be with complex material and see the hidden order of things. I am in the experience of words rather than the definition of words, or looking for someone else to approve of me. I choose the most meaningful courses, retreats, experiential opportunities, and continue to dive in and learn from the guides and the masters. I guide, teach, lead, and listen to each other's songs. I channel and meet extraterrestrials. I have channeling and transcendental experiences, loving experiences, grateful experiences, experiences of certainty and presence and enthusiasm that I'm meant to have in this lifetime. I have the supporters, the family that wants to travel along the spiritual journey with me, and the loving presence that when they come, when they go. I don't have to hoard even people or experiences. As I'm reading this, I'm remembering my friends again and realizing I don't have to have it all sorted out. I can reach out and say hello and see what unfolds. Because part of what I'm trusting is even opening up if I want to any of their messages, criticisms, cautions that they may have for me. Because part of it for me is, can I hear others and know myself? Can I hear others and know myself? Can I hear what may sound to my old mind like a criticism and be like, it doesn't shatter me or destroy me. I don't define myself by it. I get to define myself however I want. But I also don't want to ignore all the possible messages. Also, I don't need to invite in messages that I don't need to hear yet. That's part of, there's so many fallacies. It's like this fuckery upon fuckery is what we usually say. Oh my God, there's so much fuckery. It's like, Just be and breathe with each step. Just be and breathe with each step. I'm so enjoying this gimbal. I have no idea how it looks on the other side when it keeps moving up and down, and I'm sure I'll take a look at it at some point and see, is it just really distracting? And that may come up in the comments at some point in time. 90 minutes, this is a good one. This is a good one. If someone is really committed to watching this, they'll get to know a lot about me. That's the kind of crazy thing about all this. 90 minutes in. One of these days I'm going to keep going and seeing how long this goes before it actually dies, before the battery dies. It's definitely longer than 9 minutes. It's probably longer than like 3 hours. Although I'll never know until I try. And it's so much fun. I've said this before, it's been a while since I said this. I've got the best fucking phone in the world. 1 terabyte iPhone 16 Pro. I don't think I've actually said it out loud. It's ridiculous in a way, and I've already filled up the capacity of it multiple times. I've had to keep deleting things on it because so many of these videos, it's about 5 gigs an hour, and I've done at least 50 hours this year, probably more. And so I have to keep clearing it out and keep on top of it, otherwise it takes up too much. And then all the videos and the things that I've been watching, whether it's downloading from YouTube or Gaia TV or Prime Video, things like that, it's like there's so much other stuff on there as well. And that's part of me. The old term is a digital hoarder. And part of me is preserving things, and is just noticing how do I keep, my beloved loves getting baskets. I love getting hard drives and now SSDs and stuff like that. So that's going to be part of my life in the future, more and more of this as I keep creating more and more, and it's okay. And then having it all backed up, because there's a lot of stuff to back up. All right. Fun times. Mental. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. I have the mental clarity to learn from every experience, gathering and recording the most important data, and whatever is really important to me, I got for life. I know how to seek out the greatest fonts of wisdom, whether they be people, books, videos, podcasts, audios, experiences, and I have the mental acuity to make the most of every experience. I'm a philosopher king, a mentalist, a mathematician. I'm known for my ability to decipher complex issues, bring simplicity to them, to not be caught up in the story behind how things happen, and inspire others to step into their own version of things. I don't always need to show the work because I am the work. I remain voracious, inquisitive explorer, reading and consuming in ways to educate myself, also watching and listening and recording every experience and synthesizing and simplifying the most important information in the most efficient ways. I'm not just rushing to get more. Rather, I'm learning what is important to learn right now and applying it as quickly as possible. Because see, do, teach, as I've learned from medical school, is a wonderful process where I both learn and then I start practicing it and then I start teaching it, because in all the different aspects, there's learning and growth. I find the most efficient ways for me to do things right now and synthesize from the already synthesized information when that can serve as a shortcut. And I realize that everyone I learn from, I take 80%, leave 20%, or take 20%, leave 80%, whatever serves. I'm not here to fully agree with any one person in all things. I solidify the foundation by learning, teaching, and doing all at once, and I am courageous enough to learn and share, even from the place where I may not have full clarity right away, knowing that it keeps getting better and better and better. From this, I will have the privilege of a highly cultured life, for the sake of fulfillment of this lifelong quest. I'll have stimulating conversations and be surrounded by people who actually want to have these conversations and dive in deep with love and care to guide each other to a more beautiful state of enlightenment. I have the ability to step away from those interactions that are not serving me. I was thinking about doing breath for the DeMartini team as I'm going through this and just being reminded, I'm like, how do I support teams to have these interventions? It doesn't have to all be about this, but man, oh man, I would love to. I would love to support intensive experiential processes, conferences with a breath session in between, and what might be possible then. How might things wake up then? And probably creating a little bit of a video about that. Hey, corporate retreats, emotional releases, all these kind of things. let's incorporate a breath into there. What might be possible then? What might be probable then? Just in the experiential process. It doesn't even have to be the teaching. I can do the teaching as well, and I can make it really, really clear what that teaching is going to be. We can work with you on that. And then the experiential process is the big part. Like, let's just give them an experience. Let's just drop into ourselves. Let's just be for a bit. What's possible? And as the leaders, you guys get to step away and just know they'll be held. They may go through emotions, all that, but that will just drive in whatever you want next. Maybe if they bring up so much stuff and they're crying, they can't actually hear the message. They weren't actually hearing the message to begin with. They were trying to override what was there in order to be faking their presence. And would you rather have that, or would you rather have them present with what's going on and still getting to choose? And I can bring them back to that too. Bring them back from cosmic experiences, or bring it slightly lower. So we're not trying to create a cosmic experience, rather a conscious experience. Yeah, it depends on what wants to be. Mental. Now we're at financial. I'm a master wealth generator and creator, someone who's got the Midas touch and who spreads this freely and abundantly in ways that serve, who amplifies their voice with the wealth that's already been created and the wealth that is being created for the legacy of hundreds of years to come and many generations to come. I create and I'm supporting creating systems that automate the savings and investings of wealth, starting at least $100 a month and or 10% of the income, automatically going towards savings and investings in multiple areas, including cryptocurrencies, private placements, stock market savings, and others that we know can grow the wealth in the best way possible. Having so many trusted managers that we could spread the money around, and different trusts and structures and systems that make it as bulletproof as possible. And recognizing that regardless of what our net assets are, that we are creating the ability to generate wealth over and over again, regardless of the multiverse and regardless of the external circumstances. Finding the best teachers to learn from different states, stories, and strategies, and having amazing managers, teachers, coaches, asset managers to guide this wealth to better places and better uses, and learning about sovereignty and trust and stepping outside of the regular system and outside of any one country that can control all the wealth. Live a life where there is so much asset generation that I can easily support my entire biological family and be able to spread it with my ohana to support amazing causes that are meaningful and investments that can supercharge and turbocharge the changes we want to see. Live a life where we can choose and play at any time the luxuries and the conveniences and the support staff that make life even more worth living. Social. I am the best socialite I can imagine in the situations that I want to be a socialite. I'm a leader. I'm invisible when I want to be, and super visible when I want to be. I'm a chameleon, master disguiser, whenever I want to be as well. I observe the interactions of people. I listen more than I speak. I ask really high quality questions of myself and others. I learn from people who are master socializers, whether it's a vocal coach, singing coach, touch coach, coaches and guides from each skill that I want to level up on. And a dance coach for sure, as I learn how to dance and be proficient at the dancing and selection of food and eating and living a really good cultured life. I have amazing people around me and surround myself in circles that elevate experiences to transcendence, love, gratitude, certainty, enthusiasm, presence, inspiration. The circle reinforces consistently. I'm thinking again about the swords and asking Brent to help me buy them, and just noticing that I loop back on things. I just loop back on things, and it's looping back on money and not wanting to spend all the money, but also wanting the thing. So, and noticing that it hasn't happened yet. So getting some support, really beneficial there. Yeah, really beneficial there. Physical. I am in a body that feels as young as it is now or younger, more limber, more able to have endurance and energy and vitality and clarity. I'm able to meet any challenge at any time that I want to meet, and even the ones that are on the edge of certainty, if it's inspired or it's important to me. I'm enthused, present, grateful, certain of the challenges ahead of me. I train with myself and train with my son, and I train with the best trainers I can imagine and have amazing tools, amazing nourishment, amazing intake and output, and looking at the different aspects to optimize this body. I'm present with what my body wants me to be present with, noticing the symptoms that are here to remind me and teach me lessons and remind me when I'm off track. I have a body that is sought after and desired by many women, and recognizing I only want to act on the women I want to be with, especially my beloved and whoever enhances our relationship. and enhances the deepening and the real intimacy, connection, authenticity that I want to have. I push the edges and boundaries without pushing myself in mortal danger and dying. Okay. In summary, I've looked at the 7 areas of life and some of the things that are a little vague. Still, I want to have balanced energy for spiritual certainty and clarity in learning any experience for the founders in impacting more than 100 people per year, and grading and growing investments of at least $10,000 per month, and having a fully supported family and home life where we are globally, and having amazing social circles filled inspiration, presence, love, enthusiasm, and having the physicality that I can actually enjoy all of it and be ready for it. Yeah. Asking some of these people if we got $1 million, how they would allocate it. That's a great question to ask them. Whether it's Mike, whether it's Brent, whether it's Bryce, whether it's Camille. If we get $1 million, how would you allocate it? And that's probably something to take a look at. Don't take too long thinking about it. I just want to hear firsthand. Right now, we have the opportunity where we may get, let's say, $1 million. How would you allocate that right away? We're not looking to spend it all. We've got a lifestyle already. How would you allocate it? What else, if anything? What else, if anything, my friend? An hour and 40 in. Just leaving all these things. Just got a message from Nama Juicing, and I just did. I'll have to do a video of it next time. Because, yesterday I did, like 8 things of celery, 4 cucumber, 4 fennel, a bunch of apples, parsley, into I think like 7 jars of juice, like 7-8 liters of juice. Fantastic. Enough to last maybe 3 days with the family. I can realize I'm going through that about twice a week right now, which is kind of crazy. Because let's see here, 8 of those is probably at least $16, plus another $12 for the cucumber. We're at $28, plus probably another $12 for the 4. At least $12, 28, at least $40, plus the apples, probably another $15. That's at least $55 worth of juice divided over 7 liters. Let's say $60. So that's just over $10 a liter. That's about $10 a liter. Let's amortize the juicer as well. It's about $10 a liter for juice right now. $10 a liter for juice right now. So this is over $10, $15. Wow. The beet and carrot juice is much less expensive because I've got some great people I'm buying the stuff from for that juicing stuff. And it's probably more nutritious. Man. Juicing is delicious right now for me though. I am enjoying it thoroughly. I'm enjoying this juicer thoroughly. I have made now, since I've gotten it, and I got it just over a month ago now, probably about 6 weeks. I've been drinking at least a liter a day, probably. So I've created over 50 liters of juice. And if that's the case, right now it's still over $10 a liter for just the juicing machine. If I get to 500 liters, not bad. I'll get to 500 liters this year for sure. Because I'm creating not just for myself, but my family as well. Wow. And it takes me about an hour to create 8 liters. It has not stopped working yet. whenever I use it, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Such an interesting experience doing this work. Interesting experience juicing even. Getting a bunch more ball caps and then selling some. That's a possibility too. Giving more away. Yeah, just inviting them over. Hey, come pick up some juice if you want. Yeah. Probably like $20 a jar. $20 or buy the ingredients. Both are okay. And pick up a bunch of them. Happy to do that. It's not how I'm going to get rich, though. Remember that, Nick. It's not how I'm going to get rich. That's the reminder. Time, money, essence, energy. Playing with the kids, that's valuable to me. It's funny, I'm being quiet right now because I'm contemplating all these things. So the old pattern for me is figuring out how to earn money from the things that I spent money on. It's an old pattern. It's like, oh, I spent money on this juicer, therefore I want to earn money from it. Oh, I spent money on this light that I haven't used. It's funny, in about 3 months now. Part of me really is looking at how do I actually sell this light? I'm using light, Roxiva light. But letting go of that even. And then, what else is there? What else is there? What else is there? Take a look. And then taking a look at, instead of looking from that direction, which is the patterning, it's like saying I spent so much on my medical education, I must recoup that. It's taking a look at where do I actually want to work right now? Knowing that everything's served and everything is serving. All the tools are there. And right now it's like, oh yeah, how do I serve more of this breath? How do I serve more of this place that I'm in? How do I serve from that place? And looking at, oh, the playlist that I want to create now too. It's taking a look now. Right now I've got the unconventional there still. And Ohana breath flow. I'm going to unpin those two. Let's see here. I'm going to pin this new mic journey because I'm doing that on the 30th. Inspiration. I haven't created that yet. Take with it downloaded. Inspiration. Oh, I did create it. So let's pin that. Apprenticeship. I have done that, started that, so let's pin that as well. All right, so we've got 3 playlists pinned, and I don't think I've created one for the equinox yet. So I'm just doing this while I'm on Magic Mirror work because it's important for me to practice. 2025, 0321, equinox, spring equinox. Equinox, spring. Breath and hape and gathering. Okay. How villains are made. That feels like that's going to be the first one there. Warriors for the spring as well. And all the Saturn for sleep. All right, so I've got a few things in each thing. And spring download, apprenticeship download, Ohana breath, inspiration download. All right, so we can look up inspiration. I feel like the sun is going to go there for the apprenticeship. Saturn is definitely going to go for the spring one as well. Let's add these two. So I'm really enjoying creating playlists for all the breaths, and I look forward to them being created more. Definitely it's a place of taking energy and space right now. Whew, my body's starting to shut down a little bit, so I'm going to try to acknowledge and listen to my body. And it was a quick change. A quick change from the body wanting to let go and release as well. So there's a number of things that are there. Is there anything else that wants to be said or shared before I close up this morning? One is, oh yeah, I was going to take off the glass and I realized, no, I'm actually looking to shut down soon. That's probably part of the reasons that I'm blocking out the blue light. Otherwise, I'm going to wake myself up again, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Magic mirror work. This is for me, by me, through me, as me, for me. And so if anyone still happens to be here, great for you to be here. And holy fuck, what are you up to? Reaching out to some dear friends, even though I don't know what's going on. Let's contemplate doing that later today. Replying to friends, let's contemplate doing that. Let's do that later today. Let's do that highest priority list. There we go. All right, highest priorities. So, boop, 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 add page 2025, 03, 16. Magic mirror work, post videos on YouTube, share videos with Vedran, call friends, reply messages, farmers market, and gathering financial documents. Oh yeah, operator costs, look at Marika values. Enema. All right, that's enough stuff on there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, enema is important today to clear out what's been in the gut. We had some Indian food yesterday. Definitely, probably not what the body wants. Oh yeah, call Darin, call Fabienne, call parents. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Message for Jake. Message for Matthew re-equinox. Message for Francis re-loan. Oh, that's super full now. Time to close that up. Part of me wanted to get to 2 hours, but that's part of my own vanity. So that's why it's a reminder to to close us up now. Lots of love. Ciao for now, Nick.